it is a huge privilege to have someone give you their time. It's a gift, right? That's a generous act in and of itself, saying yes to an invitation, showing up, choosing that over something else. So how do we create moments of connection, engagement, information sharing, opportunities to give back?
Hi, I'm Leah Barr. Welcome to A Better Way for Doing Good, the Foundation X podcast. Here we sit down with changemakers, innovators, and dreamers who are building a better way for philanthropy and social impact. Just a quick note before we get started, the ideas we share here are for general information only. Nothing you hear should be taken as tax, legal, or financial advice. For guidance on your own situation, we always recommend talking with a qualified professional. Welcome back to A Better Way, the Foundation X podcast. It is officially episode 2, and we are joined by the one and only Correia. Carolyn, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Leah. I can't wait to talk.
Yeah, I'm excited you're here. 100% of our guests thus far, and as you know, we've only had one episode, but it's a trend I'd like to continue, have had to sit through us reading them their bio. But it's one of my favorite activities because I actually think people deserve to hear the really cool things that they're doing. So if you don't mind bearing with me, to orient everyone to who you are and why you're here, I'm going to read your bio. So Carolyn has lived and breathed the event industry for over 30 years, bringing a wealth of experience and insight to every project. As a senior leader at BeEvents, she manages a multi-million-dollar portfolio, partnering with CMOs, corporate event partners, and delivering high-impact experiences. BeEvents is an experiential design agency known for its optimistic, boundary-pushing approach, guiding clients through every stage of strategy, design, and production to create events that resonate and inspire. Carolyn, one of the reasons, and I'm going to start with this off the bat, but I know we're going to talk about it more and more throughout this conversation. One of the reasons I'm incredibly excited you're here is that we hear from our clients all the time about wanting to feel more connected to the impact of their gifts and wanting to feel more connected to the nonprofits that they adore. And I think you're in this incredibly unique position where you're not only helping people achieve that and helping them feel closer to the impact of their work, but you're curating those experiences so they are actually sitting at an intersection that people need. But before we talk about just like how that shows up in your day-to-day, I really want to talk about you. So if you don't mind just starting with telling us how you found your way into event design and just creating experiences generally.
Sure. Well, you can see on my bio, I've been doing this professionally for 30 years, which someone said, oh, don't do that. It makes you seem old. And I was like, well, I am old, but I do think it's the kind of career that the experience really does matter because you learn so much by doing in this industry. And I really started working in events when I was a young girl because my mother was very involved in the community and she would be on boards and do fundraisers, and I was working at some of these fundraisers, helping her, assisting her, kind of helping with registration, helping with kind of the planning, and I saw what care she put into treating guests that were coming to support various organizations. And so I think that's where I first got my glimpse into what that was. I didn't know it was a job. I just thought it was something you could do. And then in college, I got a little bit more involved because I was the philanthropy chair of my sorority. So we started being able to plan events and kind of fundraising things. And then kind of naturally, after I graduated, it was the first job that I took was in the event industry and in the fundraising side of things. And so, it was very natural to me and it felt like something that I just knew how to do and then honed that skill over these many years of my career in various different positions within the industry.
That's amazing. Yeah, I'm so excited to dive into all of these different experiences and how you see that kind of correlate to impact. But before we do, one of the things we really love to start with is our generosity cards. And I didn't prepare you for this. We don't prepare anyone for this. But what we like to do is use these. They're table topic cards, and they're all questions about generosity. I would love to pull one for you and read it for you. And if you don't mind just answering off the cuff, that would be a great way to start.
I'll try.
Okay. This is actually a great one for you. The question is, what is the result of generosity?
Well, yeah, that is a good one. Well, it can change the world, right? So if everyone's just a little more generous with their spirit or with their actions or with their words, I think there's an ability to make a huge, profound impact on the world. And we see that through gathering people, right? That's kind of my lens, is how do we take a group of people together that are there for a purpose, either to donate to a nonprofit, hear more information, to listen to how to be better connected with each other. And when they take that out into the world and spread it, it has a huge impact.
Yeah. Yeah. As soon as I pulled the card, I was like, this couldn't be more perfect for you. We also don't ask our guests to do things that we won't do ourselves. So I, in the meantime, also pulled one for me, and I'll read it and answer it. But the question is, what is something you love that you would like to share with someone else? I think for me, I might take this question a little bit of a different angle, but something I love that I'd love to share with the world are my friends. I think they are some of the most capable, competent women I know. And when I watch them show up in the world, I think there should just be more of them. And so hopefully we'll see them as podcast guests one day, who knows? But if I could share something with the world, I think it would be generous of me to share all of them with the world.
You just did that with your friend Krista, who you connected.
Yeah.
A good friend of yours with me, so that we could collaborate on something and share resources. You live that. So thank you for those connections that you've made you've made with me.
Yeah, for sure. I'm so happy to do it. I know that you've been at BeEvents a while, and you've had the privilege of kind of seeing the organization grow and evolve. I'm curious, as you've worked with the founder, tell us a little bit about just that founding story and how BeEvents came to life.
Yes. So our company was founded 17 years. We've been in business 17 years. I've been here 7 of the years. But the reason why the company came into existence is because our founder, Ryan, worked in the corporate event world. He was learning a lot and getting a lot of good experiences, but he just felt there was a better way of doing things.
Yeah.
His idea was that if you put the guest at the center of everything that you do, rather than sometimes the decision makers and the stakeholders that are bringing the event, funding the event, or bringing the event to life, their voices are loud and they have opinions and perspectives. And it's really important to honor those too. But if we take a look at actually who we're trying to get to this event, who's giving of their time to attend something, and we put them at the focus of everything we do, you have dramatically better results in the long term. So that's why he started BeEvents. And we really have a culture of curiosity and empathy. We all are learning things all the time because our audiences are changing, our guests are changing, kind of the requests from clients are changing. And so it's an evolving, ever curious, ever creative group of people that work at the company. So it's just a lot of fun.
So fun to hear about the background. And I've always kind of felt the synergies between our work, but to hear you say that curiosity and that impact and experience and empathy are at the forefront of what you do, I'm not sure you could have described it better for how we approach our clients as well, of just really trying to keep them at the center, and while bringing, expertise and support, their visions, and for you, the individuals who are attending event, their visions of how it will come to life are really meaningful.
Exactly. Yeah, we do see ourselves as a guide to achieve our clients' objectives, but we also are very conscious of the fact that we're in a hospitality and service position. And so it's important that we never lose sight of that. Again, we've done dozens and hundreds, some of us have done hundreds of events, and treating each one with the kind of unique lens that it deserves is really kind of a hallmark of how we approach things.
Yeah. As you think about just that approach generally, obviously you've touched on a couple of things that are core to who you are and how you show up as BeEvents, but how do you define the role of experiences as it relates to bringing people together? How do you think about purpose there?
I think experiences are invitations. So we know from human behavior, and we have to unlock a lot of these kind of things when we're creating engagements, that about 30% of an audience at any given moment, up to 30%, is going to be an active engager in something. And there are going to be other people who are preferring to watch things unfold. They want to observe, listen, they're more passive, and they're not, again, as active as a small group. We're inviting them to participate what's comfortable to them, right? And so number one, we're always wanting to reduce friction. From the minute they walk into an experience, they know why they're there, they know what their role is, and then they get invitations along the way to deepen their connections to things, or to be able to just like take information and walk away and let that percolate after. So I think it's understanding that it's an invitation, it's not a directive. So even when you get someone that says, yes, I want to come to this experience, that you can't expect them to all take it in the same way, right? So that, I don't know if that answers that question properly or not, but that's the role of the experience is for us to create this opportunity. It's an invitation for engagement and participation.
I love that framing of invitation, because I think as you think about the end result of any of your work, it's to generate impact, right? Whether it's for those in the community, whether it's impact for attendees, impact for your key stakeholders. And we talked about this a lot in our first episode, but impact is subjective, and it means a million different things to every one of the individuals around us. And so I like that idea of when you offer an invitation, you essentially say, shape this however you need so it aligns with what you're looking for.
Right. And we're providing a framework, right? We're providing opportunities in a framework, but again, it's not directive, because whenever you gather people in a space, like it is a huge privilege to have someone give you their time. It's a gift, right? That's a generous act in and of itself, saying yes to an invitation, showing up, choosing that over something else. So it's again, like, how do we create like moments of connection, engagement, information sharing, opportunities to give back if it happens to be, with a nonprofit organization. And with our corporate clients, it's a very similar dance, because we're trying to share information maybe about corporate objectives. We want invitations for people to respond back to leadership. So it's kind of this, again, creating a structure or an opportunity for engagement.
Yeah, and I think one of the things we're trying to bring to light a little bit in having this podcast and this platform is that impact can really be made anywhere. And so I'm curious, I always love hearing your examples of how your work is showing up. I'm curious if you don't mind sharing a little bit about a moment in time where you truly saw impact come to life of any type or variety.
I have a few examples. I was thinking of some of my favorite event stories, and I will say one of the events that has a larger audience, like, because we do a whole variety of small events, mid-size, very large sporting events and that kind of thing.
Sure.
And one of the ones that I've loved year over year, and it's different every year because you've got the same idea, but it's a different audience and it's different storytelling. We have this day of impact, really, of showing employees how their work every day at their company makes an impact out in the world. And we're talking a wide range of employees that work for a large medical device company. We're talking about the people who are making the product, the accountants, the marketing managers, the salespeople. The whole company gets invited to listen to patient stories. So these are patients who have had life-saving implants, procedures, drugs, interventions. And their stories are so compelling. And every year I'm like, how are we getting more of these stories? But we put them in an environment where they're getting a tour of the facility, meeting with employees, and then they get to go up on stage and tell their story in a very intimate kind of setting. Thousands of people are in the room, but it feels really intimate and focused, and they're able to sit there and tell their personal story. And when I sit in the audience, because I observe what's happening and I see the faces of the employees, again, like every manner of employee, and you're seeing emotion, like a lot of emotion and a lot of pride, a lot of connection and a lot of empathy with the patients who are up there telling something so personal. That one gets me every year. So it's one of my absolute favorites. The photography out of that is beautiful because you're seeing emotion on people's faces. And of course, in the room, you feel it. You just really feel it. So I love that. I love that event. That's my favorite event.
I love that. We talked about unlock moments in the first episode of the podcast, and I think this is a very similar type of experience of To your point, like there's a feeling in the room, there's a sensation in the room. We can't always define it. We definitely can't prescribe it.
No.
We can just hope that it kind of comes to life and we get to be the recipients of that. No doubt that's your favorite. What a great privilege just to be a
Yeah, we feel so lucky because certainly we're not saving any lives, right? That's not what I'm doing. So I don't have that kind of impact that those employees get to feel in the room, but we get to be part of it. Like we get to actually set the stage for this to happen kind of by just we're involved in it. So then it feels really amazing and we feel as connected with it as the employees do. And that's the beauty of the kind of work that I get to do is I get to do things like this at so many different companies for corporate clients, for nonprofit clients. And it's like we become an extension of the work they do. So it makes our work feel so much more impactful and compelling than it would be if you think of it as like, well, we make the room look pretty. That's so much more than that.
Yeah.
And so that's what, coming from originally from that nonprofit side of the event world and now transitioning to doing both, it has really allowed me to still feel like I'm making some small change in the world, even if it's lifting other people up to give them a platform.
Yeah. Yeah, tell me a little bit more about that. I'm curious, of course, we heard about the business values and how you kind of keep the individuals at the center of the experience, but tell me about your values and how that's shown up in this work and how it's been a part of how you've navigated just having all of these amazing clients and get to be a part of their experiences.
Well, I've definitely been so lucky to be, again, it really is a service and hospitality job, right? And my values and being able to live them over time and aligning it so well with what I do for work, I've been so lucky. So yeah. I do feel like not everybody always gets to find that in their work. And when you do find it, it's really something that fuels you. It never exhausts me, even as crazy as events can be. I don't get drained by it. So it really feeds me in a way that I feel like then I'm at my best level so I can give my clients the best support that I can. And my role at BeEvents is so interesting because I get to serve our clients because I'm the head of account services, but I also get to mentor our internal teams. And because I have a lot of years of experience, when I galvanize our internal teams and kind of like prep them on here's the client, here's the goal of the event, here's how we've done it in the past, maybe here are some ideas of how it can be done, here's what we've promised the client. And I start to coach them on how to work with the client and how to work more efficiently as a team on the production and the creative side. It's fulfilling because I get to do that internal team kind of guiding and coaching, plus I get to serve the client. Yeah. So it kind of fills all of those buckets, especially of like where I am in my life as far as my age, having raised children, and I've grown children now, and kind of being their guide. It aligns really well with like the stage I am at life too, where I get to have this role of kind of guiding things and using my experience. And for a long time when you work in events, I always tell my friends it's when you work in events, you have to be like a swan to the public, but underneath, those those feet are going, right? Because events are so high profile and the stakes are so high and mistakes are so public. And so you really do have to maintain this like very composed image, but you're paddling like all get up it down below. Yeah. And I do feel like now in the role I'm in and just the stage of life, I'm finally getting into the like, maybe I'm the stork now, like on the side of the pond instead of like the little paddler.
Yeah.
But it's aligned really well with my objectives of making an impact, doing something I know how to do and I love it. Yeah. And it's natural to me at this point in my life. And then it aligns really well with how the stage of life I'm in.
I love that. I think we talk a lot about like the compounding effects of generosity and how generally speaking, these moments just don't exist in a vacuum and they're not a kind of one and that's it. And I just love as you've been talking, I've been thinking about that as it relates to like your work and the impacts of generosity you have just in supporting your clients as you would as a part of that job no matter what. but how you also get to translate your experiences, your expertise through mentorship for the team. It's like at every turn, to your point earlier, like you're being generous with your time, you're being generous with your expertise, you're being generous not only because you're helping nonprofits raise dollars, but you're bringing something to the table that perhaps they don't have the bandwidth or the expertise to do themselves. So it's just this like very beautiful pairing and marrying of that ripple effect and how it shows up. I think one of the things I love about your work, Carolyn, is you are tied into people and community all the time. Like you really don't exist in your day-to-day job without both of those things. So tell me a little bit about what you've learned about either people or the community, just based on your interactions.
People are so generous. Like, speaking of generosity, so people have been generous with their time, with their resources, with their connections. I love when people connect me randomly on LinkedIn or through anything and ask me if I would talk to them about developing their career, or talk to them about events, or what are the options in the event industry, and how can they start in the industry, or how can they transition into it. And so I love that people are so willing to connect about all manner of things.
And it's actually the perfect segue into what I was really hoping to ask you, which is like experiences with intention, big or small. If someone wanted to make sure that they were delivering an experience that was intentional and created impact, tell me the types of advice you would give them.
Absolutely. So always understand who your guest is, or who is coming into your space, or who you want to bring into your space. And I think I touched on this earlier, and you and I have talked about this before when we talked about micro events, about making things frictionless. So making it easy for people to say yes. We don't want barriers for entry unless it's something that's very specific to what you're trying to do, but we want to try to remove barriers for participation. The other thing that we want to think about is the generational changes that are happening, because we're seeing in our events, especially in our corporate events, and it will start to come forward in the nonprofit events as well, is that Gen Z is in the workforce and they are here for it, and they are different than baby boomers. So keeping in mind kind of how people are used to communicating, receiving information, perhaps how they're used to engaging with activities with food and beverage is an easy one. So the trend toward no alcohol, let's be sensitive to kind of the changes in the generations and what the generations want to see when they go to an experience, and how they want to engage and how they want to interact. How comfortable are they with technology if you use that as an interface? And so I think all of those kind of nuances of making sure that you're serving your guest the best you can, and always keeping in mind that you're serving an audience. You're of course you're trying to meet objectives for your gathering, but you're serving an audience. So how do you make that invitation throughout the entire kind of range of the event?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I think to ignore one of those things, right, to ignore the guests, where they're coming from, what their experiences might look or feel like, you're not going to achieve those objectives no matter what you do. So you could do all the effort in the world, but if you don't understand who it is that you're trying to speak to and what you want to say to them, I'm sure it just becomes a moment where it's like, well, the objective is a moot point because we're not really tailoring this in a way that's effective.
Yeah, we always start with guest insights when we're trying to figure out how to approach a solution for our clients, and especially if they're saying to us, we know we want to do something, we don't exactly know what it is. We always start with, well, who is your audience?
Yeah, I love it. We talked a lot about joy in the first episode of this podcast. Joy and creativity paired together are a huge part of your work. Why do you think those things matter so much?
I think because people can tell you can't fake it.
Yeah.
Joy is one of those things where if someone feels it, they're feeling it, and they haven't been manipulated into feeling that, so it's very authentic. It's very like human, right? It's like a very basic human emotion. And so if you can unlock that, and it doesn't have to be through big grand things. Sometimes it's just something really lovely and beautiful or thoughtful. The storytelling that I referred to earlier with the event, there was joy in that, there was humanity and depth, and there was pain in that as well, because the other side of joy is pain, and you have to know both to know one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so little things like when someone walks into a space, and I'm thinking of one event that we did where we were at the YMCA, and it's a gym, right? It's not a place you would expect a gala.
Sure. Yeah.
And we transformed it into a black tie gala. But
Wow.
the first thing we did when people walked up the stairs was we had these aerialists like above everyone's head, and you just couldn't help but kind of smile, like, oh, okay, that's cool. And so those kind of moments where it's unexpected, and that's where you can feel the authentic joy, and it's not something that's kind of like forced.
I love that. I think you're so right in that those experiences, you can't tell someone to feel joy, they just do. And when you can have it be unexpected, and when you can have it be a moment that maybe, everyone walks into an event expecting check-in, and
Yes,
when you
it's
can
registration desk.
yeah, where's the desk? How do I sign in? When you can flip the script a little bit, it already sets the stage for an incredible experience that could leave a lasting impression. I love that that's always at the forefront of how you think about things and how you work. Amazing. Well, I could not be more grateful for this conversation. I think one of the things I love about it is just one of the last points you made around these don't have to be big, grand gestures. Impact can be made through small moments. And as long as we're being intentional about the individuals we're focused on, whether it's through philanthropy, whether it's through one-to-one experiences or large-scale events, then we can achieve more. So I'm thrilled by this. And you're not quite off the hook yet, because we like to end this pod the same way every time with it, which is through some rapid fire questions. So again, no prep, right off the cuff. I'd love to know, for the first one, what does a better way for doing good mean to you?
It means approaching things in small ways where the details matter. So paying attention.
What value of yours guides your work the most?
Connection, the desire for connection.
What inspires your creativity?
Nature.
Then tell me last, either your go-to coffee order or your favorite daily ritual.
Making my bed.
That's
I cannot start a day without it. It's like,
That's amazing.
it's the only thing I have to do.
That's perfect. Carolyn, thank you so much. I was thrilled when you said yes to join us. I know we spend a lot of time together in a professional setting with both of our organizations, but this is one of the first times we've sat down in this way and had a conversation like this. So I could not be more grateful. I know if anyone needs anything events related, it sounds like you are an open book. But is there anything else you want to share with us before we let you go?
No, but I just want to say to you, thank you. Since I've met you, you're such a light in the community and such a joy, and I just feel so much alignment with what you do and how you approach things and what we do. I just really appreciate you.
Thank you.
And want to support you in every way I can.
It's too kind. I think we're both very lucky for the work that we get to do and how aligned it is for each of us. It's back to the conversation we were having at the very beginning. It's such a privilege.
Thank you.